I think today there's, with the social media boom, and that is a marketing tool, and the use of the internet, that just about virtually anyone that wants to be a business owner can be a business owner, and more important, make money at it.
All right, we're going to take off. Welcome to the Unstoppables. This is the place, the station. Don't touch that dial. Where we turn those intentions into dollars. You know, over the hundreds and hundreds, and I mean hundreds of guests that I've had, in the long ago time of Sirius Radio, I remember but a few. Number one on that list is this guy, Robertson. Rod, welcome to the Unstoppables.
You already have me laughing. This is going to be fun.
You bring two things. You bring a great sense of humor, but you bring tremendous value. And on the Sirius show we did, I had a lot of feedback from people saying that was tremendous value. Very pragmatic, really walk through the ways of how to acquire a business. But just if I want to buy a business, what do I do? We got a lot of entrepreneurs or wannabe entrepreneurs out there. So we're going to touch on that. But before we do that, we're going to 30,000 feet. No one will do it better. Give me some Rod Robertson in about 60 seconds.
Okay, first you got to do is you got to love what you do. We all hear this, but it's the truth. You know, if you're looking to buy a business, if you can't own the Yankees or the Red Sox, then you got to do something sports related. If you love dogs, then get in the pet business. Do something that's close to your heart so that you'll love going to the office. I mean, selling a widget is okay, but it's hard to love a widget. And what you want to do is you want to make a lot of money. And in this day and age, you have to have a business that's really scalable. You know, I've seen, in working in the tech markets that I do, and been doing this for 20 years and being a multiple business owner, I see the people that are most successful or driven are the ones that get out of bed in the morning, not driven by fear, but driven by excitement. 20% fear is good. 80% excitement it's a beautiful balance.
That's a great takeaway. 80-20, the Pareto rule, but 80-20 on excitement over fear. I always say, in doing what I do, Rod, that I am pulled from purpose instead of pushing towards success in something I may not want to do, but think I have to do. But doing this, I am pulled from that. I never worked a day. No.
Yeah, but you're pushing it right. You know, there was this course over at Harvard that I was involved with, and they had a section called Work, Love, and Play, and splitting up those three sectors: work being work, love being family and home, and play being, if you're not married or whatever, you know, how can you do and entertain yourself? Yeah. One of the biggest hardships of business ownership is no one ever can get that beautiful balance between work, love, and play. You're killing yourself as an entrepreneur working. And so the home life suffers. Sometimes people have tragedies with their kids that they get away from them. And then some people get fat. You know, there's all sorts of problems because they're not exercising. I mean, you really got to try to keep it. Even though it's a sprint, you're going to go for a marathon. So you got to find that balance between work, love, and play. But unfortunately for entrepreneurs, it's not a third. It's 60%, and then you get the other two buckets as you can.
One of your favorite places to go is Panama, right?
Oh, of course. I just got back.
It's not work, man. It's love and play.
Oh, it's everything down there. I mean, now those Central American, I was down in Guatemala too. They picked me up at the airport in a bulletproof limo, and it's a very serious place. You know, the gringos are hunted quarry down there, but it's
kind of love that. It's like Westworld. You kind of love that, didn't you? Huh? Let me drop in on something serious before I go to something real serious, where it's a whole nother level. Okay, so we're gonna go into your connection with Putin and what you did over there. But that'll keep people from turning the dial real quick. But tell me about Briggs Capital. It's a company you managed since 2001. It's based in Boston. Mergers, acquisitions. So give me the granular stuff on what Briggs Capital is.
So what we do is we represent people that want to buy businesses, or privately family-owned businesses that want to sell their businesses, or people that are seeking to grow their business. And so what we do is we do all those three things. But the thing I like to do the most is find some family or some people that have been a second or third generation that they want to cash out. And, you know, they've been working for 40, 50 years. for 3 generations, 2 generations, and now they want to go out to pasture or hand the baton on to somebody new, younger, that can really get involved with social media, because social media is becoming all the old ways of, you don't see outside salespeople anymore. Right. It's desk sales, it's social media. I mean, everything's changing. And if you don't have those millennials on board in your company, I don't care what it is, you're going to be hurting.
Yeah. There's 2 of them in here. One's from Sweden, and I don't know where Kelsey's from. She just kind of showed up on my doorstep. Yeah, just kind of showed up with a sign, I'll work for entertainment. Okay, I'll give you the entertainment. Come on to work. Tell me about when I invited you on the show. And again, you have been a long time favorite of mine. But when I invited you on the show, reached out to you, and you came back and said you just got back from Russia. Is that correct?
Yes, I was over there.
What were you doing?
You know what? I was doing cybersecurity over in the Ukraine, and that was very exciting and a lot of fun. And, we had an office there that we got pulled in during the war, and being a little bit of a wild man, I wanted to go over there and set up an office and see what was happening in Ukraine, to be on the forefront of events in the world. So due to graft, all sorts of issues, I had a great time. Got involved with 5 or 6 businesses. They all gone down the tubes, but one, a blockchain company. And blockchain is something that's really interesting, because everyone's talking about it, but no one knows it. Everyone knows Bitcoin, but blockchain is changing everything. And it's really prominent in countries that don't have a currency or are in trouble. Like in Ukraine right now and other countries, people are buying homes, buildings, apartment buildings, shopping centers with blockchain, because no one wants to buy it with cash. So the world is changing very quickly outside of the United States with this blockchain revolution. And it's especially prevalent in developing third world countries.
How did you get the invitation to the birthday?
Oh, it was, he's circling back to my little visit to Russia, where...
How smooth is that? It's nice to say.
Yeah, well, it was, his birthday over there is a huge event. It's not Putin, it's our beloved president. And it was quite a time. It's like anything else. There was, like in Washington, there's 7 satellite parties, and people go through each party in their limos, and the great man and his entourage comes in, and everyone hoo-ha. But I tell you, we started drinking at 7:30 in the evening. My last shot was at 5 o'clock, and we did 25 toasts. And I ate a lot of whale blubber in between to keep myself on my feet. It was great.
That wasn't white wine. That was vodka, wasn't it?
Yeah, all sorts of different vodkas. But
is there a difference in the vodka over there than the vodka you get here?
Yes, there's the vodka there is there's nothing but truly vodka and wine, but the vodka is unbelievable. I mean, it's anywhere from 20 proof to the fire water. But so it's not like what we drink here is vodka, which you think it is. Out of the 7 or 8 courses in a meal, there's 1 or 2 before and after. And you don't even know you're drinking until you're drunk.
It's kind of how it works for some of us.
Yeah.
Right. I'm getting a feel on this. All right, just a feel. You have such an enthusiasm for life, such an energy for life. You really do. And when you said the 80-20 thing about getting up with that energy and really the fear component, okay, it's 20% of it. Is this part of your DNA, or is this something you've learned over time?
No, I was like, I think everyone else, I came from a nondescript background. I hustled my way into a position as a salesman, and then I did one step up after another. And I think today there's, with the social media boom, and that is a marketing tool, and the use of the internet, that just about virtually anyone that wants to be a business owner can be a business owner, and more important, make money at it. You don't have to be... In the old days, it was like, you'd go 20 years and get the golden watch. Now we're like baseball players, football players. You get a 3-year gig, you jump to the next. Your life.
Yeah, free agent. Yeah. Rod, draw a distinction for me, if you will. Business owner, entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm. Business owners are somebody that are maintaining and running the business every day. And entrepreneurs are somebody that are looking to make changes. They're agents of change. Business owners obviously are entrepreneurs too, But in the connotation that you're using, I think it's more of a steady state rhythm of selling a product and enjoying owning your business, whereas entrepreneurs are dashing, hustling, meeting people, are in the groove. And there's one facet of that I see over the last 3 years, and that has moved, is what we call a sponsorless buyer. A sponsorless buyer is somebody without money that has a sponsor that helps them buy a business. And so if you're really good at something, you can go out there and size up a business and say, God, I'd love to run that business or be part of the senior management team. And I don't have a penny, but if I find the right people and I present it correctly to the money people, then I can be not full owner, but 10, 20, 30%, enough to make millions if you build it and sell it.
That is a fantastic concept that you've seen turned into reality.
I just sold a company that had 3,000 employees down in Virginia. There was 8 big companies looking at it. A guy I knew who's a good exec with about 100 grand in his pocket, he ended up going out and partnering up with a huge home healthcare company. They bought the company together. He got 25% of the company, leveraging the other person's money. He ended up, getting millions of dollars worth of stock, and he got a job. I mean, and he just wedged himself in there because he identified the business for sale.
Talk to me about your book and talk to me about how we find you, because the audience right now has probably got a piqued interest after vodka and Putin. A little bit about Panama. So tell me about the book you wrote and where we can find it. Is it Amazon?
Yes. I wrote this book. It's called Winning at Entrepreneurship. At first, I was writing another boring business book. And then I was like, hey, why am I doing this? Let me write a book that, tells war stories, but also is like a thumb sketch of, and could give anyone the fundamental understandings to be able to talk turkey about buying a business and how to go about it, talking to, how do you raise money from friends and family? What's the terminology, the cheat sheet for terminology that if you know these 50 phrases that you can pass yourself off as some sort of expert. But I think, one of the key things that I'd like to talk today about was a sponsorless buyer, but also about when you're going out to find a business, be fearless. Do not be handicapped by any size. You're driving down the street and you say, that's the coolest thing, or my kids love to go here, or we like going here with my friends, then you can buy that place. You just got to have an open mind. This is what America is about.
I'd like to give you a virtual hug. Got a cold, can't do that. You make this statement. It's been proven time and again that the operator, love that word, who steps boldly up and makes aggressive, pragmatic decisions despite fearful consequences usually wins the day.
Mm-hmm.
Is that printed on a t-shirt of yours? Is that in your bedroom? Where do you have that thing?
Well, you know what? That sounds like I was probably having a couple of drinks when I wrote that one. But, it's true, though. You really have to. And in today's environment, with everything moving so quickly, before, if you made a mistake, it was like turning the Titanic or moving a ship, a container vessel. Now you can move nimbly and make turns. And if you make mistakes, you can recover quickly because you don't have to put a preponderance of your corporate assets into one function.
I want to go on my own. I want to start a business.
Mm-hmm.
I think last time we talked, you had a rule on how much you should have in the bank, the capitalization, what you should be doing.
Right.
The great one. Okay.
Yeah.
Can we revisit that one, please?
Sure. There's 3 ways you can go. You can buy a franchise,
Mm-hmm.
which is like buying a job. Nothing wrong with that. It's less expensive. You're buying something that's already worked with somebody else, and you just have to do it better than them. And if you can bring new technology to it, that's fine. The franchise is good. My personal thing is to buy a business from someone that's older, anyone that's not of the new generation, who is running a business old school, but has what we call a legacy revenue stream. They're doing fine, but if you can put bells and whistles and afterburners on it, you can, double or triple the profits and take it. So, when you buy a franchise, you only can sell it to other people wanting to buy that similar franchise. So it's your exit isn't good. You're buying yourself a job, and they have that's okay. But buying a business from somebody that is just a little run down and tired and jagged, I think that's where to go. starting a business, we can talk about that. But it's only 1 in 50 that really make it. Everyone burns out. And when you start, that means you have no money, no cash flow, and it takes at least 18 months to do it before you get anywhere. So that's a harsh game.
So what's the kill rate on that for startups?
Oh God, it's like 6% make it, and for buying an existing business, the business is already running. Uh-huh. So, I mean, the survival rate is much better.
I've never thought about a franchise as being like a job. That's a great.
Yeah, it's buying a job.
It's buying a job.
But it's also, though, with the franchise, it's interesting. It's the old McDonald's theory.
Yeah.
You buy one, you pay your bills.
Yeah. You talk about a grandmaster in your book, grandmaster entrepreneur. What is a grandmaster entrepreneur?
Well, to us, it's like hitting the cycle in baseball, a single, double, triple, and a home run. The idea of taking a business that is like I loved animals, so I bought a pet food business to start. And it was in receivership. It was struggling, and and I whipped it up to about $10 million, and I sold it. In retrospect, I should have kept onto it, and I made a couple $1 million, but it was my first one, and I didn't want a home run. I wanted to, get my jump badge, so to speak, to say that I owned a business, bought it, built it, and sold it. If you can hit for the cycle and do that, and then you're, in my mind, you get the grand master designation. That you went the full cycle. And then the next time you do it, you don't have to go for the home run out of the chute. You do it for a single or a double. And then the next time it'll be easier because you'll have a track record for doing it, and you can attract money, and you've learned a lot more. So the second time you own a business is when you go for the home run. The first time you go 3-4 years, 5 years and out. The second time you ride, but it'll be a bigger machine.
Well, I love it. What do you look for when you buy a company? What is Rod Robertson looking for?
You know what? I look for something that we just touched on earlier, something that's tired. I just keep stressing the social media and the millennials being involved in your business. I look around when I go into businesses all the time. If I don't see a little group of millennials working on social media, or if I look at their website and it's just what it is, was it 78% of websites now are viewed on the phone, not on the desktop. So everything is fast transit. Let's move, let's go. And if you don't have those people working for you, you're missing something. And the mistake that the millennials make, and the people in their 30s, and they're like, they don't have the old duffer in there. God forbid someone my age who can tell them the blocking and tackling of business. Mm-hmm. So if you're young and you got game, you got to get somebody that's been through the ropes. You really need strong advisors. So whatever end of the pendulum you're on, you need the people on the other side to complete your management team.
You think you just defined the Wooditch Company's composition. So Kelsey, I want you to play that back because I am the voice of sagacity. I'm the sage. So you come to me with the oracle when you need that. But otherwise, let them go. And the thing that stymies a lot of companies that I see, because I'm exposed to myriad companies in this business, and what really kills the older company, the more mature company, like the bell curve, where they start to go on the way down. They go through the whole childlike growth period, and then at this certain stage, then it's senescence, and they start to get old. They get that vice grip on the way things used to be. The death knell on that, they don't want to give it up. So they're just antiquated. I had to be able to get my ego out of the damn room, let millennials run with it, scare the shit out of me, but let them go, and it became a better, more creative, more germane company for it, I think.
Yes.
So I think sometimes we are the obstacle. And that's the main concern. And I have to turn it over to millennials and let them go. They love to work on projects. They love to be challenged. They don't like to be told what to do. Just say, this is something that we need to do, figure it out. And they just go crazy.
They're saying now the average millennial have 13 jobs in their lifespan. And you look at the baby boomers, it was 3. Yeah. So that's, if you get back to owning a business, nothing should be forever in business, because there's no forever in business, because change is happening too rapidly now. So and we're not talking about the Fortune 500 companies or the top we're here. 80% of America is built on people with less than 50 employees. This is where the game is.
Yes.
You know, let's stay in that game. You know, everything else is in the papers, and that has nothing to do with us. We're in that rough and tumble game. But it's beautiful. If you assemble the right team, you can make a fortune, a small fortune, and you can have a great lifestyle.
Going to make everybody here listen to this and watch this. Actually, that's great. That's great advice. How do you define success?
To me personally, it's not how much money you make. I think what is the number that people say in their brain when my friends and I all talk in the industry, and I don't have that many friends because I don't like most of the money guys, but I think people put at $3 to $5 million is the number where you should be all set. So if you have to set a financial goal, you want to see that eventually if you sell your business and that you're doing different things, that at the end of the day, if you get to 3 to 5 million, that you should be all set. And I see people get to 3 to 5 and then they kill themselves driving to 10 to 20 to 40. Why don't they slow down a little bit? I mean, look at myself. Maybe I'm an extreme case, but what am I doing? I own a bull breeding ranch in Panama. I'm doing things in Nicaragua. I'm over in the Ukraine I am an extreme case, but you know what? I'm at the 70-30 rule now, where I'm doing 70%, 60% of good, solid business making work and 30 to 40% indulging myself in what is important to me.
So when you're having fun, right? Yeah. And fun is probably the game, because you mentioned the game.
Yep.
What do you do there's no spare time, but what do you make time to do for yourself that you indulge in that's just fun?
Well, I think like idle vacations aren't good for the entrepreneur. You have to engage in something. Like if I'm going, like I just went to Guatemala and they set up 17 meetings for me. This is my vacation. I get to meet powerful men, billionaire families. I'm in helicopters flying at volcanoes. I'm meeting hundreds of young entrepreneurs. I mean, for me, this is vacation. And maybe it's because of my age and what I've done, I have this access. But even if you want to explore the world or to go different places in the country, go do something where you're not just laying in the sun or windsurfing. Do something where you're stimulating your brain, because you never know who you're going to meet, and every different part of the country has something to offer for you.
Yes, yeah. So when you're with people, you're looking for those people who are engaged in life. You don't want to be with people who are just going to sit there with idle talk. You're always looking for what's the next opportunity. Well, I'm enjoying the company here. We're creating from our synergy some sort of energy that's going to help you do something in what is next for you. And I think that's key. That's key for me as well. Rod, the other side of success is the other side of that coin, is the one you don't want to pick up, the tail part, right? Not off the street, is failure. So what do you consider your biggest failure, and what did you take away from that and learn?
Yeah, one of the main theses of my book was the highway to business hell, because everyone we just talked about the fun part of business, but what's the dark underbelly? And it is huge. And this is, the trough, we call it Satan's trough, because that'll be my next book is going to be called Satan's Trough.
The river sticks, man. Okay, go ahead.
But, the downstroke is terrible. Because people will rush to put sign up their home or their condo on, as collateral to a bank. You just have to be so careful about signing personally on the notes. And you really have to have a series of barriers and checkpoints that you go through, and warning bells signing as you plunge deeper. Because when your business is going south and you start driving frantically all your assets into it, you're throwing money down the drain. You got to know when to cut bait, and you have to be disciplined when you stop and throw in the towel before you take the whole family unit down with you.
That's a great point. And because you're so invested and you have such a great belief in the self, that
yes,
you keep moving forward thinking it's going to break. I can't quit. I'm going to channel my inner Winston Churchill, and I'm never, ever going to give up. At a certain point, you've got to be, as you say, pragmatic, and you have to be disciplined. And that's very tough when emotion's involved, because emotion keeps driving you forward.
Yeah, I went to a friend's house, and in my business, when you're working with somebody and things aren't going well and they don't listen. I was at my friend's house the other day, and they put a for sale sign. They were foreclosing on his house, and him and I pulled 2 lawn chairs out, and we we're drinking in this front yard, talking about his victories and his defeats, why they were packing and moving into a little apartment. I mean, it is a harsh end game. But you know what? You have to be, he broke through 4 barriers that I kept like resetting the goalposts further down for him. And then at the end, he thought he was going to be able to save it, and it was over.
Now, my friend, you're good on the oblique, but I'm going to bring you back to you because maybe you haven't had this before, but I want to know what your failure was and what you learned from it.
Oh, no, I've had, if I looked at it, I'm like 3 wins, 2 losses, and a tie, you know, and my 2 losses were in the tech business. I did great in the pet. I did great in commodities. But the tech business, I got my head handed to me once or twice. And
what'd you learn? Never go back in?
But you know what saved me is I took the money that I did out of my first victory, my first single or double, and I moved it off the playing field. And then I played with house money on the second or third. And so when I lost that money, I dusted myself off. And I looked around and said, wow, that was an ugly event.
So what was the lesson for you? Don't go back into tech?
No, I'm deep into the tech more than ever now because you can't get away from tech. Even the most mundane business has to be grabbed by its bootstrapped and thrown into the tech world. If you're not on the internet, you are cooked.
Mm-hmm. So what was your takeaway? Wrong business?
I think, you know, if I owned my pet food business and I stayed with it, but I got spooked and I sold short, the guy that bought it from me drove it up 3 times as big and he didn't do the hard work. He caught me at the right time when I was spooked and he built it and he made 3 times as much money as I did. So I learned that I got spooked, but I didn't have anyone around to coach me. If I had a coach, I was making decisions in a vacuum in fear at night, worrying about the mortgage on my house. And if I had people around me that were saying, Rod, settle down. We can talk to somebody else. You need an injection of cash, but none of that. I operated in a vacuum. You cannot operate in a vacuum.
And for the listener, how many make those fear-based evaluations in a vacuum? And it always comes to you in the middle of the night, comes to the night of your house, and it's fear-based in a vacuum. That's a great point because that comes on.
You know, a lot of wise men told me, and I think it's really a great axiom is by the end of the business day, you're pretty shot. And what you're doing from 4 to 7 o'clock is usually not good business. And then if you're out at dinner making business decisions, you're only working, you're best in the morning. And so many people have told me, don't make any business decisions after 5 o'clock that are key, large, life altering or even business altering decisions. Think them, shelve them. And then when you get up in the morning and you have your full wits about you, that's when you confirm or deny what you did the night before.
I'll give you some neuroscience behind that. We have a rule here. It says never after 4 o'clock. We don't, because you make bad decisions. What happens is that willpower bar erodes during the course of the day. And willpower is exerted even in what kind of time am I going to work today. She's always making choice. At the end of the day, there's so much attrition to that choice, that muscle here, that you just get tired. You start to relent, and then you're out at dinner and you're trying to make a business choice, a decision, and there's the cake, and it's all of a sudden my willpower is strong in the morning. I wouldn't eat something like that, but give me the freaking cake. So I don't make them after 4. Try to make them after 12.
And you know what I think people should say a lot more in business is, I don't mean to be rude, but could you get to the point? People and younger people are too nice to older people. I tell people in their 20s, you don't have to respect someone because they're older. I said, you just got to challenge them, get in their grill, and you don't have to listen to them dawdle on what happened in 1997. When people start with the meeting in I said, with all due respect,
yes,
this isn't 1997. This is 2018. We can talk about last year, but we want to talk about next year. Don't let people ramble on. Just say, with all due respect, can you get to the point?
There's 2 things I say here. Number 1, I just want to see the baby. I don't have to learn how it was, the whole process of being birthed.
I like that one.
I do.
I'm going to use that.
And the other one is Cliff's Notes. Give me the Cliff's Notes. Don't bury your lead. Get it up there. And I learned this from a famous writer. He said, son, when you send stuff to me on email, you put everything in that subject heading because then I might look at it because I get thousands of these a day. So everything you want to say, you make it nice and tight,
Nice.
you don't want to lose because you're going to lose me. I have my attention span is like a gnat.
Yeah.
So you have to learn how to deal with me as well. And I think you're probably similar in that way. Don't bear me with all the bullshit because usually it's at the end. Just give me the shit. Let me deal with it.
Yeah. You gotta throw your words around like manhole covers in emails.
I like that one. I'm stealing that one. In creating what is the Rod Robertson of today, going through all the other stages of life, there's an arc. So in that arc, there's what I call a defining moment. There's that one thing that happened that brought you to this place right now. Well, what's your defining moment if you want to look back?
I think it was financial freedom of my first sale. I mean, I've always been a twisted sister, reading books and traveling the world any way I could and doing different things and having fun. But once I understood and I had the money and I had it behind me, and I wasn't wealthy, but I was no longer a mere mortal. I was somewhere in between. And once you can unshackle yourself and you get that first victory, that's why you go for the single and the double and for a 3 to 4 year plan. If you're looking at buying a business, a lifestyle, yes. But you know what? Get that first victory under your belt. And then the next one, you play with somebody else's money, you stash your money away, and then you go for the home run.
OPM, baby. Other people's money.
Yeah.
You know what it's like? It's like what were once luxuries are now necessities because your lifestyle becomes more of a hedonist in terms of your taste. People think it's cheap to play the way we play. It's expensive, man. To fund my own lifestyle, it's freaking cost me a lot of money to fund my fun. I can't, right?
But so for the listeners out there who are thinking about I don't know anyone with money. You know what? That's not true. The whole world is there loaded with cash. There's angel groups, groups of people who are willing to put in, 50 to 200,000. Then the next level up, first you start with the friends and the family. Mm-hmm. And those are people, but it's horrible taking money from friends and family because you never can get away from them at night. They're barking at you at the business table. How are we doing? And you're done, you're toast, and you're like, oh. So friends and family you can use, but there's a price to be paid with that.
Yeah.
But the next level up, there's angel groups. And if you just do your research online, you will find angel groups. Everything's online. And then you can look at how to write the business plan. But the hardest thing in business is to find the business to buy. For every one seller, there's 100 buyers milling around. So you can be, if you don't have the skill, if you somehow can identify that and become a sponsorless buyer and bring those people and say, let's buy this. I can be the salesman for this company. I don't want to run it, but hey, I want a piece of it for coming up with it. You can do it. And it could be anything, I don't want to, anything from a storefront, but let's talk about the next level up. Companies that are worth $3 to $20 million. You can get a slug of cash worth $1 million and they'll whittle you and hack you. But if you do your job, but you know what, then you're part owner. And it's different when you're an owner.
Oh yeah. It's a lot different, isn't it? Where do we find you? Speaking of online, where do we find these pearls of wisdom? Where can we find more about Rod Robertson?
The Winning at Entrepreneur is the book. And, I'm just out there having fun with people like you. And I really enjoy, I like saving older people from squandering their wealth from generations. And I enjoy coaching young people who've got game and want to do it. I mean, everyone talks about that. I listen to it all the time, but I can go in a room and there'll be 10 people there. And because of my training now or whatever experience, I can see the 1 or 2 people that are listening and not talking. And I listen to them a little bit and I ask them what they do and their intent and they're focused, but you have to be out there. You have to put yourself in the public forum, not just hide behind your computer. You got to go to civic groups. You got to go to associations. You have to go to business meetings. You cannot be a business person without being in the business community.
You
just can't sit around with your friends and dinky dick with your computer every night.
You got to put yourself in play.
Yeah, you got to put yourself in play.
And this relates to everything. It's one of the things we talk about in this company is that you can't do good business sitting on your ass. Get up from behind the desk, get away from the computer, push away, get out there and meet people. It's the only way.
When you go into a room of like 10, 20 people, 30, 50, what you should try to do is find 1 or 2 people in that group and you just hone in on them. And at the end of the day, at the end of that night, you want them to remember who you are, and you follow up with them the next morning. Yeah. If you go to 20, 30 events in a year, you'll have made 30 worthwhile contacts that you feed little articles, you keep them in touch. You can develop your own database, but just don't go there and look at some name tags and have a drink and say, oh, this place sucks. I can't wait to get out of here. I shouldn't have come. Go around and find that and ask people, who's the big dog in this room? Who, and just go over and hang on there like a terrier, get in there. And then next morning, send them a nice note and send them something thoughtful. Send them a little present. I'm old school. Send them a book the next day. People, you can't buy a rich person anything, but you can buy a rich person a book because everyone's flattered by receiving a book.
It's true. You're probably the biggest dog in the room. So people probably nip it at your ankles. And the thing about your follow-up in a note is huge, especially if you make it personal. Especially something that came away from that conversation, you put in quotes that shows you were actually listening. Paying attention with that laser focus. That breaks down barriers, and people just don't do that today. Mm-hmm. That's a lost skill. I believe it's just something how I was raised. And it's been probably one of the biggest reasons that I'm here in California looking at two millennials at this point, instead of being back in Pennsylvania. And we do share geography because I'm from Western PA, and you were somewhere between Buffalo and Rochester. Is that correct?
Yes, I'm an upstate boy.
We're not strangers to snow.
Yes, of course.
He's an iconoclast for sure. He doesn't operate in a vacuum. He doesn't make big decisions after 4 or 5 o'clock. His name is Robertson. He's not only a special guest, he's my friend. And I'm going to call you that because I get the biggest kick out of you. You got value. You got humor. I love the way you come about and attack life. Man, some energy there. I love the force that's you. I really do.
You know what? I'm going to invite you down to Panama then. You come down and we'll sit on the back of a big boat and we'll have some drinks and we'll talk some business.
I'm loving it. No, I obviously do that. What is next for you? I mean, you're always doing something. You got bull farms here. You got this going on over here. You're in Russia doing this.
You know what? Okay. So I'm sitting here doing my thing, and I met this man. He's an odd fellow, an introvert. You know, you'd meet him on the street. You say, oh, but he has a snappy little business, and he's asked me some advice. So now I am putting together groups of my friends to buy his business, you know, and he's doing 3 million to the top, 1 million profit. He doesn't communicate with people. He's a hidden gem. So I'm going to pop in a couple of my friends and hopefully, we'll put some money together and we'll go other people's money. We'll buy this company and we'll split up the $1 million in profit. I mean, it sounds easy, but theoretically it does happen every day. And, so I look for opportunities, and I'm looking to be with really smart, fun people, and yes, young people.
Yes.
Well, at this stage, most people are getting younger than me, so it's okay.
No, he is the biggest dog in the room, and you've got to let the young people go and drive the company.
Yes.
That's the thing. If you're always going to be at that control wheel, you're going to be going down. It goes into senescence. You lost your vigor, vitality. Really what you're doing is backing into retirement. You just think you're vital because you show up. All you do is collect the check.
Yeah, and you got to fight the riptide of the millennials being pulled into other businesses.
The riptide of the millennials being pulled into other businesses. Man, I got some jewels on here that I'm going to steal from you. Put them out on Twitter. Okay, so just get ready for that to happen. Well, I got one more question for you. Sadly, I got to let you go, but I'm going to have you back. But I got one more question for you. If you could write one paragraph, make it as long as you want, that others could learn from, to grow from, what would that paragraph consist of? It's just a teaching, life, business. How would your paragraph look?
It would be about surrounding yourself with wiser people than yourself, and always hunt and meet new people. You have to meet new people, and don't sit behind your screen. Get out in the world and talk, and meet.
You're fantastic. For more guests, don't know if they're going to be close to Rod, but more guests that you can watch. It's the Wooditch Network, Facebook Live, and that's what we do. You got to come on and watch us.